Luke's bike meandered forward. Its movement was creaky from exposure to the elements. A thin veil of sweat clung to his skin and cooled him as the air swam over and past. He rode away from the lake, leaving his tent and belongings vulnerable to passers-by. Then, over the dam, his body a stick man above a large expanse of water. Delia, he knew, must live in Kurau. As he cycled into town, he scanned each house he passed and sought her whereabouts at the local petrol station. He recognised a wizened local who pointed him in the direction of a cottage not so far from the centre of town. Approaching, he felt intrusive. Maybe she hadn't returned to the lake for a reason. He should respect her rejection and continue on his journey as if they had never met. The cottage was quaint. He spied the outline of a statue through a window, the silhouette of a naked woman. Perhaps the statue, like the apparition a few nights ago, might turn and greet him. He longed to be welcomed inside. A shadow passed across the curtain, and he saw Delia wander through the room and then turn. It felt strange to glimpse her in an environment beyond the lake, and he felt a pinch of nerves. He laid his bike on the ground. The grass was long and untended, and the bike became easily hidden amongst it. Walking up the driveway, the door opened before he was able to knock, and Delia stood in the doorway. "Hello," she said. "I thought you might come." "Did you?" "I've been waiting for you." She ushered him inside and closed the door behind him. It clicked. He wasn't used to feeling so enclosed. He wondered if she sensed his uncertainty as she guided him through the dim hallway and into a lounge. The room was lined with smiling statues welcoming him. "I'm glad to meet your statues," he said. She looked at them as if they were new acquaintances. "They're not self-portraits," he murmured. "No, indeed." He realised that she looked drawn. Her eyes had lost their reflective shimmer, and the skin beneath had darkened. She looked slim compared to the healthy, full statues around her. She must have been working hard, chiselling and sanding, so maybe that was why she hadn't returned to visit him lately. "I'll show you my studio," she said. The studio was brighter than the other parts of the house. Light flowing freely from windows contrasted starkly with the dim hallway and lounge. Although aerated, the room was filled with a lingering powdery scent. He felt both absorbed and disturbed by it. Antique tools hung from hooks, and statues in various states of production lined the room. He felt in the presence of an audience that was assessing him. She stood before him, her head raised, her eyes smiling, but her face still. She gestured towards a block of stone. A large chisel and mallet lay on it. "I've saved this one for you." She took his hand and guided him to pose before the stone. A current of warmth coursed through the lake, through him. "I want you to imagine you're at the lake," she said. "I want you to lose yourself in that." He nodded and shyly positioned himself on the floor, tried to imagine a layer of stones supporting him, and below that the crust of another unknown layer. Attempting to banish the lingering powdery taste that came from the statues nearby, he inhaled a fresh breath, feeling the lake coursing and gyrating as if angry at him, and closed his eyes. Delia lowered the chisel to the stone.